I suppose since I was a child, I've been really boring, like loving to do voices, interested in characters. Um, and characters fascinate me wherever I go. If I'm on a tube or on a bus or in a shop or in the theatre, wherever I am, I will always look and listen. I like to look at what people are wearing and how they're speaking. I'm fascinated by accents and why people speak the way they do. Just all these things, it's a bit of an obsession, to be quite honest. And so when I get offered a part, I just love it if I can hear the voice in my head when I read the script. And it just fascinates me. As I was growing up, I used to love pretending to be people, pretending to be someone else. And certainly at the beginning of my career, I always felt more comfortable when I was acting than perhaps I did being interviewed in real life. I would be quite shy and quite sort of, oh, I don't think I can do this. But put me on in a situation where I was having to be somebody else, I'd be 100% confident. So I don't know what that means, really. Probably I'm a bit of a mad woman, but I don't know. I just love voices, characters, being somebody else, thinking about the clothes that the character would wear. Would this character have her hair this way, that way? Would she... I don't know, all those things. I love working with, for instance, choosing costume and makeup. I would never just walk in and say, oh, give me whatever you want. No, I have to have, it has to be a 50-50 deal with who's ever doing costume, because it's my character and I've got ideas in my head. And usually it works brilliantly, where the costume will say, right, okay, well, how about this then? And I say, oh, that's great, or no, I don't think she would wear that, because I've built up in my mind. I think the majority of actors are like that. They get an image of what their character should look like and sound like. So, yeah, I'm just a nutcase, really. I mean, I was such a, nervous wreck when I first got to drama school. This whole world, was opening up. I was the kind of person, had a lot of courage as well, and a lot of, I'm going to do it. But there was also a bit of me that was very nervous, and I suppose that's quite natural. I was quite young, and I grew up in Liverpool, and suddenly I was having to leave the safety of my hometown, my family and my friends, come to London where I didn't know anybody. I didn't know one single person, within 100 miles of London. So I was, feeling a bit scared. And I suppose as teenagers, most teenagers now, they travel, they go here, there. We didn't. If we went on holiday, we went to Cornwall, but we didn't sort of go abroad, and we didn't go to New York. And I hear kids saying they're doing this and doing that. And my two sons, they've travelled the world. And it is different. So my world was much narrower, but it was exciting to actually be launching into this. And I'll always be grateful to my drama school, to East 15 Acting School, to Margaret Berry, who ran it, who auditioned me on her own. And she gave me the chance. And the great thing that she did, I did these awful speeches, and I know they were rubbish. And she just said, oh, let's forget all that. Let's do some improvising. And I thought, oh, great. This is where I'll be in my comfort zone. And one of the things she said to me was, okay, I want you to be Cassius Clay, i.e. Muhammad Ali, who was Cassius Clay then. And you've just won the World Heavyweight Championship. And you've got all the cameras around me and all the people. Go. And so suddenly, I was really kind of, wow, but I jumped into it and did it. And then she got me to be a guide going around a stately home using the drawing room that we were in. And she said, you've got a group of people, take them around the room and show them the room. And so I did that, and I was able to be free. And from that, she gave me a place at the drama school. And I think not many drama schools would have done that. I suspect if I'd auditioned for other drama schools, I would have done these awful pieces, and they'd have gone, thank you, no thank you, cross her off the list. So she gave me a huge chance. Oh gosh, well, I remember as a child seeing a film with Flora Robson in it, and I remember thinking she was amazing. And I can't remember what the film was now, but I think she was playing Queen Elizabeth I, and she made a speech to the nation. I remember thinking this was just amazing. And I tried to recreate that several times at home in my bedroom, opened my bedroom window and looked out into the garden and tried to imagine hundreds of people I was making this speech. And I remember the next door neighbour came rushing out this day, and she looked up and she said, "Alison, is everything all right? Is there a problem?" And she thought I was shouting for help out the bedroom window. And she was, "Are you sure you're all right?" And I said, oh yes, everything's fine. I was just doing a speech." She was like, "Oh, child mad," she just ran back in. But I was constantly doing things like that. She was very inspiring. And I think just watching things like Carry On films, and just seeing how clever they were, the women in those films, and the funny things that they did, they were inspirational. And comedians from my childhood, Beryl Reid, Hilda Baker, these women, they were strong, very funny women. Not that I ended up a comedian. Please, God forgive me, I could not stand on stage and do a stand-up routine. But they certainly gave me the love of comedy and the love of entertaining. And so that was a huge inspiration to me. Well, when you get a script, generally speaking, you obviously know whether it's a good script or not. And that's the thing that attracts you. But sometimes things can be sort of sleepers, you're not sure. And then you suddenly find yourself thinking, gosh, with Abigail's Party, for instance, we knew it was interesting. We developed the characters from improvisation, then we put the play together. We did it on stage at Hampstead. And it gradually dawned on us that this was being, sellout. It was very popular. And, management are talking about doing it again in the West End. And then Margaret Matheson came to see it from the BBC, and she just said, "This has got to be recorded." And so Margaret Matheson is the reason that the BBC got Abigail's Party. And so gradually it dawns on you that, oh yeah, I've done something which is quite popular. But you don't always know at the beginning. You really don't. Abigail's Party, obviously, I'm incredibly proud of, and we had a lot of fun doing that show. And you look back to the times when you were getting the character together and all the work, all the research, and of course it all pays off in the end. A popular comedy thing would be Gavin and Stacey, and that was great fun to do. And we were all very sad when it finished, because we did feel like a family. we did feel, I can remember the scene when Gavin's getting married, and he's with Pamela, and he's saying, "Oh, thanks, Mum, and your hat looks great," and all that. And she says, "I'm so proud of you." And it was really so hard to do that scene without crying, because we did feel like we had that closeness between us, and that was lovely. I loved another comedy show I did called The Worst Week of My Life, with Ben Miller, Sarah Alexander. That was great. That was great fun. And again, we were very, very sad when that finished. But nothing goes on forever, so you've got to pick yourself up, and move on. But that was great fun to do. Orphan Black was a great opportunity. I just got asked to do this job. It kind of very late, and suddenly got sent a script and read it. I said, yeah, I'll do it. That'd be great. Trip to Toronto, film over there. And it was quite funny because I read it and I thought, now, okay, so who is she? What is she? Doing all this kind of very quick stuff. And it said she lives in a council house in the East End of London. I thought, right, presumably she's a Cockney woman then. Just made some very quick decisions, learnt the script on the plane going over, going through it, got there, got the costume, went to see the producer, very, very nice man. He said, "Hi, Alison. Hey, thanks for doing the show. We're really so pleased that you're here. So you okay with Irish?" And I went, "Irish? Yeah. Inside I was thinking, oh my God, I was filming the next day. And I went back to my hotel and thought, right, okay, right. Is there a button in there? Off, on with Irish." So I spent till 2 o'clock in the morning just readjusting this whole thing. And I thought, why didn't I think She's called Kendall Malone. Sounds a bit Irish. Oh dear. It was just absolutely hilarious. But I got on the set the next day and, everyone made me so welcome. The whole studio, they were all coming over saying, it's great that you're here, and it was just such a lovely atmosphere. And it just clicked, and it was fine. And I had a really great time, really great. A stage show, I think, would be The Rise and Fall of Little Voice, which was such hard work, but it was great to do. And it was so rewarding. We had a lot of fun doing that. So there are so many things that you kind of look back and you think, that was really great. The thing I love the most is occasionally someone will stop me in the street and say, thank you for all the pleasure that you've given. Thank you for all the laughs. Thank you for, all the shows that you've done. And that really makes me feel great, because it's not, someone being silly. It's someone genuinely saying, you've done a lot of work over the last sort of 45 years or whatever, and thanks very much for doing that. You've entertained us and made us laugh and made us cry, and so that's great. Well, I do remember when I was very young and I was first doing television, you would certainly get the supporting artists, the men who just thought you were there for a bit of fun, and to be groped, and that wasn't very nice. They seemed to think that was their prerogative, which I hope and I don't think happens now. But generally, I think it's a great profession because as an actress, and I like to say actress, I don't like to say actor, I've not jumped into that, but I think that you do feel equal to the men, because very often you've got an equal sized part, you're as important in the play, whether it's television or stage, so, it's not that kind of thing where you're the one scrubbing the floor and all the men are walking around, being the lords and all that. You can do anything as a woman, you can be anybody, and that's the fun of it. And even if you're not particularly enjoying a job, and occasionally that happens, of course, it's not going to be forever. And I always feel for people who perhaps are doing jobs that they're really not enjoying and have to sort of stick at it because that's all there is. And that must be horrible, to spend your life doing a job you don't really like. But I'm lucky. I've done a job that I love and I'm still doing it, and I'm 70, so that's great. But I remember when I was approaching 40, a lot of people said to me, this is the crucial age. If you can get beyond 40 and you're still working, you've probably got another 10 or 20 years left. But most actresses will find they get stuck at 40 and no one wants to employ them. And that's terribly sad. Life does not end at 40. Very often it begins at 40 for a lot of women. And over the years that has got a lot better. Now, Hollywood I don't know about. I've never worked in Hollywood. And frankly, I think at my age I probably never will. But that's okay. She says that and the phone rings next week and suddenly I'm over there. But but seriously, it has got better. There are more roles for older women. I did a series called Boomers where we were all over 64, 65. I was 68 when I was doing that, 69. So yes, it has got a lot better, but it's still difficult. Yeah, I think particularly for younger women, they're getting much more leading roles, much more interesting roles where they can be part of the plot, where they can be part of the action. I think as women in life are freer to do more interesting work, then that, of course, reflects in the acting world. Women are much stronger, much more, can speak for themselves, I think it has improved a lot. I remember years and years ago, if you talk to some actors whose parents were actors, it was the usual case that the women, once they had, even if they had a good career, once they had children, they stopped acting and just devoted their lives to their kids. Now, personally, I think things have gone too far the other way. And some women, when they have a baby, the baby's like 3 weeks older, they dump it in a nursery and they're off out. And I think that's wrong and sad. And I think you can find a balance. But I think things have improved. Yeah, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I still wish there were just 4 channels. I mean, you know, I just get completely overwhelmed. But having said that, I think it's great that people watch things on catch up. There is a huge variety. There's more work for actors, obviously, because there's more, you know, channels and more stuff. And I think it's great. But as a woman my age, I do find it a bit overwhelming, and I'm constantly trying to keep up with all the different things that are happening. But I will get to know how to use my channel changer. I will.